All right, guys, just want to welcome back to the Gridiron Gurus podcast. Some late night breaking news here that the New York Giants are working to finalize a contract to make John Harbaugh its next head coach. And at the start of this process, this is who I thought that they should go all in on, and it would be a perfect pairing if once Harbaugh was let go by the Ravens after 18 seasons. And it was an unfortunate end for him. That long of a tenure, a lot of success. Super Bowl title back in 2012, have yet to get one since then. Three straight playoff appearances, 10 plus wins in all those years before 2025. And it just seemed like the momentum had peaked out within this organization for Baltimore. It was a strange campaign in 2025. The defense to start the year was abysmal. Then Lamar Jackson goes down. Then he comes back and just doesn't look like his normal self, leading them to stumble to an 8-9 season. And even with all that, they still had a shot there on that final play of the year on that missed field goal to make the playoffs. They decided to cut ties with Harbaugh soon after that. And the big thing that's really going to lead to this potentially being a success here with New York is just the ability to establish a sense of a program. That's really been an issue for the Giants, especially under Brian Dable. As complacency was a big problem with this team. They made the playoffs. I think it was in his first season. They had won a lot of close games that year, and then over the course of the final couple of years, mainly 2025, just a lot of close games didn't go their way, or they ended up blowing leads. You look at the Dallas game, and then, of course, the Denver one more specifically, where they had a monster lead in that one and they lost it. This was a team that at times looked like a good football team, but just complacency and overall consistency was hard to find. And that's something that Harbaugh is going to look to come in and establish with the Giants, who have a really good roster. They have a young quarterback in Jackson Dart. Harbaugh's definitely going to surround his players around the best assistant coaches in the league. And I think this is a team that can do a lot of damage. Obviously, it's not a complete roster by any means. It's not exactly win now mode, but they can compete, I think, for this division with what they have. Young players around Dart like Cam Scatterbo should come back from his injury. Theo Johnson's a respectable tight end. Malik Neighbors is one of the top receivers in the entire NFL. Andrew Thomas is still a respectable left tackle. And then the defensive side of the ball, I mean, they're loaded up front, really stacked in the secondary as well. I mean, this is a group that should definitely be accomplishing more than what we saw this past season, where they only won 4 games and they were able to pick up a couple of wins late in the year against the Raiders and Dallas, two teams that they really didn't even show up to play. They didn't really care. So it was a 2-13 ball club before then. Again, a lot of close losses, but a team that has a lot of talent. They can definitely again compete for this division. And Harbaugh is a guy that we have not seen at a different destination in a long time. Again, 18 years in Baltimore. What's a change of scenery going to do for him? Is he going to be able to stick to the same routines? Is it going to affect him mentally or emotionally? Those are some things that you're going to have to wait and see. It's not often where you see a guy almost coach 2 decades at a place and then get fired and then move on quite quickly. So I think those are definitely the things you have to circle. But this is going to be a highly energetic guy, self-motivated leader. His teams are always hard-nosed, incredibly tough. As a former defensive back, the playing style is definitely going to be implemented. You always thought about the Ravens, a high-flying, nasty defense, and they really lacked that edge in his final years. But him and that organization were able to consistently find players that they could put into the system, into the program. Him and his brother. That's why I always consider them to be program type guys, where they can come in and put everything together. And that complacency that the Giants struggled with in 2025, I don't think you're going to see that under Harbaugh. You're going to see a more complete 4 quarters of football from a talented team. And I think just the ability to adapt. A lot of resilience. There's a lot of teams where when they're down to a backup quarterback, for example, times get tough. And you've seen the Ravens in numerous situations over the past couple of years where they're here battling with a backup quarterback, and they're able to, uh, withstand that just for a little bit. Play close games, get some wins. And when a coach can do that, that's very impressive, right? That means he has established a nice, well endowed culture. That even though they're going to be down one of their top guys, I know they really struggled this past season of a backup quarterback, but in the past they've had some tough resilience, that being the Ravens. They've been able to overcome a lot of it. It was unfortunate to see how things played out. I mean, they had a chance to go to the Super Bowl back in 2023. They lost to the Chiefs at home in the AFC title game, where they couldn't manufacture a whole lot of offense. It seemed like the relationship with him and Lamar Jackson seemed to get a little bit sour towards the end. Is that on Harbaugh? Is that on Lamar? Who knows, right? But I think here, this is a group he's going to be able to come in, and it's going to be exciting for this group of players. They have a coach that's going to be able to put them together, put them in situations to succeed from a schematics standpoint. and they should instantly be getting able to play winning football. And bearing any setbacks, Harbaugh's going to be the next head coach for the Giants, and this is what they needed. Forget trying to go out there and get a younger guy. I know that John Mara is sick of every couple of years replacing GM and head coach, and I don't think that they have a problem in the front office. I think Joe Schoen's done a pretty good job of establishing this roster. I love the drafts that they've had the last 2 years. Finding guys like Drew Phillips, Abdul Carter had the disappointing rookie season, but that was a very smart addition. Tyler Nubbin as well. The aforementioned Theo Johnson, just picks that make sense. John Michael Schmitz at center, just draft picks that made a lot of sense for this football team. Tyrone Tracy, another good find. Like I think he's done a really good job of establishing this roster. They still have holes to continue to fill. But they can win 8+ games a year. That's what they should be doing with this roster. They have a young rookie quarterback that they're going to have to put in some situations to succeed. So it'll be interesting to see if the offensive scheme is much like they had at Baltimore, a run-first approach. Greg Roman just got fired by the Chargers. I wonder if Harbaugh would want to reunite with him. I'm not sure. But I think that they're definitely going to look to open up things a little bit more with this quarterback that they have. Getting Neighbors back is going to be great. They're still going to look to bolster the rest of this offense as well. And I don't think you're going to see as heavy as a run-first approach as you did in Baltimore. They really tailored that offense around Lamar Jackson's skill set. And at one point, it just seemed like these guys are unguardable. It felt that way in 23 and 24, right? And they still weren't able to punch their ticket to a Super Bowl, especially that loss to the Bills where they had numerous mistakes from the quarterback, from Mark Andrews, and they just could not get out of their own way, and that's why they struggled to make a Super Bowl. And so change the scenery for everybody, and I think for Harbaugh, this is a good fit for him. He can go be in a big city like New York. He's going to be able to uplift this program, uplift this city who's really struggled at football for God knows how long at this point. And I think you should, again, see that program really come together. It's going to be a better culture, one that grown men can adapt to. And he's a strong leader. He's going to bring in the guys that know the X's and O's better than he does. Great strategist is Harbaugh, much like his brother, and putting that culture together is going to be the main goal here from day one. So this is going to be a team that has accountability. Complacency is no longer going to be in the way. I think they're going to be able to close out a lot more games, and they're going to be playing more competitive football at a higher level. And I think that you can do a lot of things with this roster because this defense is incredibly nasty. If they just have an offense that can pair with it, you can really start to see dividends on both sides of the ball. So this is a great hire for the Giants, slam dunk. They went all in, and I think that's the way they should have did things, give him whatever he wants. That was the report, and I think that's exactly what is going to be happening here. Is they're going to be looking to ink that contract here shortly and welcome him to New York. It's going to be it for today's episode. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.